Welcome back to Youth Square. We continue this afternoon our reflection and research about metaverse with Annabelle Schneider, designer and professor at Parsons School of Design in New York. Hi, Annabelle.
Hi.
Welcome, us. You can start your lesson now, and we'll see after about Q&A when you end, okay?
Perfect. I prepared a little video. I'm very pleased to be here. Hello. And I hope the sharing and everything works now and the sound is good. So let me share my screen. Experiential designer, artist, brand strategist, and humanist. Exploring the loss and belonging of human connections in realms of performative spaces, analog, digital, and spiritual. Welcome to Reality.zip. Reality. What is real? Are you real? No, accepted. As more of our lives are spent online, it's becoming harder and harder to distinguish real life from life lived digitally. Reality. How do we access the real? How does it affect our identity? How does it affect our relationships? How do we connect, play, experience, love, life? Is reality hybrid? I am interested in the thresholds in between the digital and the physical, the body and space and the experience you carry mentally. What are the stories we want to experience in which of the spaces? And what is a designer's role? Times of big transformation, new hierarchies, new roles, new skills, new collaborations, new moments, new glitches. How do I define a SIP? Referring to the space, a hybrid, a seamless, performative, temporary concept, compact in clouds, data archiving and mixing anew. A moment, a glitch. Life is about unpacking those SIPs and rethinking the concept of spaces. The democratization of mixed reality technology opens up discussions on new alternatives and collaboration spaces that aspire to facilitate global exchanges from our distributed embodied locations and digital spaces. We move beyond representation and engage in immersive experiences from multiple points of view, facilitating interaction between different spaces and groups of people across cultural and spatial boundaries. Personally, I believe we will have to find more balance between technology and nature, crafting and production digitally, and the spiritual. Finding the balance between extreme contrasts. Contrasts live in dedicated, newly programmed spaces. Okay, now I have a problem. It's the wrong one. Because I had before a problem with accessing the file. So I'm really sorry. I have to go to my Google Drive and see if I can access it from here. I'm so sorry about that.
I had before this massive issue with the file. Oh no. Is it possible that you can stream it? Oh no, it will take forever. Okay, let me try again. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Okay, now
Can you
yes. We can see it.
Okay, I am so sorry for this. I try again.
Don't worry.
Okay, that should be the right one. So I start here again.
Mixed reality technology opens up discussions on new alternatives and collaboration spaces that aspire to facilitate global exchanges from our distributed embodied locations and digital spaces. We move beyond representation and engage in immersive experiences from multiple points of view, facilitating interaction between different spaces and groups of people across cultural and spatial boundaries. Personally, I believe we will have to find more balance between technology and nature, crafting and production digitally.
Annabelle,
and
sorry,
the spiritual.
we can't see the
Finding the
images
balance
and the
between
video.
Yes,
We can't see your images and your video now.
you can.
You share your board, but we can't see what you...
I cannot hear you really.
We can't see your video and your material. Okay, now yes. I don't know what you do, but
Okay.
now yes. Perfect.
Okay, I start here
again.
again. I'm so sorry for this. Okay, let's try again.
Embodied locations and digital spaces. We
Good.
move beyond representation and engage in
Perfect.
immersive experiences from multiple points of view, facilitating interaction between different spaces and groups of people across cultural and spatial boundaries. Personally, I believe we will have to find more balance between technology and nature, crafting and production digitally, and the spiritual. Finding the balance between extreme contrasts. Contrasts live in dedicated, newly programmed spaces. Bubble is my nickname, originally due to my bubbly, playful characteristic. Later became my IG name, and by now it's also a shape of interest in all my thinking. Inspired by its fragile, temporary existence and water-based nature that plays with light as a wonderful rainbow. A temporary capsule for privacy, a room for dreams and escapes. Born and raised in Switzerland, with dad as a pilot and mom as a textile designer. Without the TV, but a lot of cheese, fire, fresh air, bright light, and water. Natural elements that matter to me the most. I loved spaces, from cardboard houses to the tents to section drawings. Till today, I love to play with perspective, draw, and explore my own models. I started to work for the Montreux Jazz Festival, where I learned to understand the concept of stage and performance. Stages I design today myself. After studying design management and designing jewelry in the Philippines, I became global brand manager for furniture company Vitra, conceptualizing installations that celebrate design classics and launching accessories at fairs such as Maison et Objet and doing campaigns. When in New York, I designed for Architecture and Daniel Arsham, pop-up stores such as Kith or installations like Twilight. After, I helped Laufen to develop a collection together with furniture brand Kartell, a hybrid of objects that responds to emerge in bath and bedrooms, especially in hospitality. During pandemic, when fairs were shut down, I designed Kartell by Laufen's first virtual space interface, a collage of layers, stories, and products. All were disappearing. All right. Temporary installations in physical space were always my thing, such as the one at Salone del Mobile in Milan, celebrating the ceramic production process. Today, we live in digital spaces. I increasingly believe in spirituality and new rituals that help us taking care of our body and space, as well as our mental health. Out of dead stock fabric and with a community, I designed a meditation pillow that was launched at Art Basel in Miami last winter. Welcome to Art Basel 2021 in Miami. We try to make people sit down, think about their daily routine in the bathroom, with the water, interacting, and like finding the moment of peace and zen.
Sound of water running and looking at the body of water. It's very relaxing to look at the surface of the water. I feel like each time I meditate, I somewhat feel like you're isolated, you're underwater. Kind of like taking a shower. I mean, showers are meditative for me as well. You know, I love the full body relaxation.
Currently, I'm working on music stages, fashion runways, and as last week premiered a video piece about Swiss sanctuary spaces in collaboration with London-based artist Julian Knox. Last but not least, I hope to find the glitch moments for all our health, experienced and performed in physical space, choreographed with the digital. What made me do it? Let's have a look and dig a little bit deeper into my heritage and the way I took with studying to projects, discoveries, and what actually influenced me most. Environmental and contextual influences, values, and dreams. Things that shape me. Born and raised in Switzerland, as I said, where I learned to build spaces in nature, but always wanted to go into the messy, collage-like New York. The bustling hub where people create things together, stories are being written. It's a massive common goal. A moment of the now as almost nowhere else on that planet. Questions of loss and belonging, communities, new stories and new combinations and collaborations. Fearlessness is written differently than in Europe, and the demand for innovation is high as well. Yet, one needs a strong breath to actually pull through, stay consistent and honest with yourself. I once said, and still then really believe, the realer you are in New York, the more the city accepts you. Be you, find you, be you again, and pull through. Educational influences, design thinking, and story of spaces. I started off with my undergraduate, my bachelor's in Lucerne, Switzerland, an international BFA study course in design management, which was back then a pilot course. And I think that was like 2005. What was most inspiring to me was the fact that the university advertised the course as a blend between creative and economics, making it something very generalistic and hybrid, but also giving you a role of a connector, a turntable function, and someone who needs to be able to observe, tackle social, cultural changes, talk to different type of people, and ask for whys in behaviors of targets. Those insights of observations are very, very valuable in the design process. And not last, fosters empathy. Empathy is the skill I believe is the most important for a designer today, maybe always was. After having strategized on those user experience and the user journeys throughout spaces, but also throughout like the digital touch points, which were back then like mainly websites, apps, newsletters, and all those things, like pretty flat. I decided I really want to understand the concept of a space, a physical space, because that was the moment where people actually met, and where people meet, they create stories together, they create memories, and they're feeling somewhat connected to the brand, to the story, to the place, and to the narrative you give them by the stage you're building for them. And thinking about how you actually create memories, or what happens if you listen to a sound or you smell a perfume, especially the sense of touch, is something very intriguing to me. I think it proposes the most prominent discrepancy between the two spaces, like the digital and the physical. Now we're not able to feel with our sensation of skins or temperature in the virtual yet. But I know that researchers and technologists are already heavily working on that and develop gloves or secondary skins. This might be a very scary outlook, but I think this is very much the time where we actually have a word to say as well. and bring the ethical in it and use our skills to join the dialogue and to find the right balance between the physical and the digital and how we live, why, where. I was born and raised when the cell phone was not even invented, and I remember going to school and seeing my first Mac. I didn't really understand what that computer thing should be, and everything looks very much like Times New Roman, not nicely layouted and like those weird animated word fonts. But technology advanced very fast and everything became very progressive, and all of a sudden, just by the way humans get used to stuff, we integrated technology in all our lives, and soon I became the last generation that actually knew how to live without the phone. Now the phone is actually in all our hands, and we basically already live in the digital space all the time. This being said, I'm focusing on the communication and experiential part a lot, but this is also the moment I would like to make an anecdote and bring some more food for thought into the picture and invite you to think outside the box. Look at artists, technologists, and researchers, scientific people. What are they working on? What will life be in 500 generations from now? Like Lucy McRae, one of my favorite artists and scientific people, also heavily engaged with MIT, she asked, like, have we departed Earth and lived light years away from our origins? Artificial wombs experiment make it possible to be birthed into the world in new synthesized ways. So what makes us human if we have been grown in a petri dish or brought to term in a plastic bag?
If we aren't grown through the body and touch is the first sense that is developed in the womb, then how is that going to change human hardwiring? How is that going to change the brain? And will we need machines to vie for our affection? My name is Lucy McRae, and we are in the world of Futurekin, which is a speculative world where human life has been grown in a laboratory without the body, and Futurekin is a provocation on what that world would look like where we have been grown and not born. The point is to ask impossible questions. What do all these different people think about this technology? Because it will change human evolution forevermore.
Yet this was a short escape into the future, and parts we clearly should not forget, but be aware of that people are actually researching that. Now let's come back into my past of how I used to design experiences in spaces, with whom and why, and where we're going from here. One of my first temporary and multisensorial immersive spatial installations was on display in Zona Tortona for Fuori Salone in 2012. The installation was a collaboration between scenographic studio Atelier Oi and bathroom manufacturer Laufen. Laufen is known for their Swiss bathroom design, sustainable processes, excellence in design, innovation, and technology. They come from a long tradition of high quality and craftsmanship. The installation celebrated this very ceramic manufacturing process. We staged a multisensorial experience, integrated real natural materials, technology with waste-scale flames of fire in turning mirrors, and a massive light installation. Another early installation and collaboration with two designers from École for Vitra was the one you previously saw quickly as well. For Designer Saturday in Langenthal 2014, Vitra and École University of Art and Design invited visitors to discover the mythical aura of great furniture design classics. The installation, called Out of the Box, offered an enjoyable exploration of the concept, production, and impact of these iconic designs. Technology was integrated with moving pieces, disappearing and reappearing in full scale out of cardboard boxes. A fully synchronized light and music underlined immersive experience that let people wonder and wonder. Later, when working in the fields of stage design, interiors, architecture, and art, I was honored to join the architectural and art practice architecture and learn alongside a skilled team around artist Daniel Arsham and architect Alex Mastonen how highly popular cultural successful projects like KIP or other spatial immersive experience like the beach came to life.
Architecture is something that everyone experiences every day. It's a ubiquitous thing. It's something that we know and think about. For that reason, it's something that is very rich for exploration and for altering people's expectations about it. My background is primarily as a visual artist. Architecture began because there were a number of projects that I was working on that played with architecture and often did so in ways that required a kind of architectural skill set.
The kind of pieces we're making at architecture run the gamut of architectural spaces and kind of physical sculptural pieces that people are interacting with. What we're interested in is looking at existing architecture, architectural scale environments, and reimagining them to create new and unexpected and memorable moments.
The building that we're in right now functions both as the architecture headquarters and my studio as well. A lot of the work that I'm producing here right now is part of a series that I've been making where I'm taking contemporary objects and remaking them in geological materials.
There's generally a very collaborative sort of environment. Oftentimes before we even start drawing, we're just discussing.
I make art which one could say has no purpose, and a lot of the things that we make in architecture have a function or a specific purpose. The ideas are simple and strong at the same time. For me, it's a lot about reduction, so we're often taking things away rather than adding them. We often will make one statement, one gesture within a space and allow that to define it in its entirety.
In the case of the beach, this was a really big undertaking for both the National Building Museum and for architecture. This is going to be one of our bigger installations.
We were presented with the idea of creating some sort of environment, some sort of experience. The project is in Washington, D.C. It's in the summer. Thinking about just the summer and this idea about a place where people would like to go and hang out. And for us, that was this idea about the beach.
When people go to see the beach at the National Building Museum, what they're going to experience is we've taken over the whole atrium, which is about the size of a football field. We've created this large abstracted beach with 5,000 square foot shoreline, which kind of empties out into an ocean of almost 1 million ball pit balls, which are 3 foot deep, and it fills up a 50 foot by 50 foot space. So really it's like wading into the ocean.
I was excited about building it. I was apprehensive about the volume of everything. When I heard about the specs of the balls coming in, the boxes are your moving boxes, basically 2 foot by 2 foot by 30 inches tall. And they said there's going to be 16 of these on a pallet, and you're getting 94 pallets. All right, hold on now.
Material is something that we pay a lot of attention to, whether that be an architectural material or bringing a material that you wouldn't expect in an architectural context.
I think reduction is a big part of what we're doing, or abstraction. So taking something familiar, in the case of the beach, reducing, say, the color palette to like all white, transforms it to kind of an extraordinary experience.
The aesthetic is very much that of architecture. They seem to want to just present the essence of the structure without any distraction.
For us, I think it was more about the concept of water and creating a sort of more pure environment. We're very much interested in an architecture that is inclusive of all different types of people. Everything that we create is done with the intention of it functioning for a 5-year-old and an 85-year-old. I'm looking forward to being in it myself, and I'm also looking forward to just grabbing my son and throwing him in it and seeing his experience with it.
Seeing it complete now, it's really great opening day to have so many people show up.
I think the first person in here was a little boy who just ran straight into the balls, like no stopping. We tried to make it feel like it was actually just this thing that kind of landed like a spaceship and didn't really have that much to do with it, although we allowed the 2 giant columns to sit in the center of that. It's like a little bit of the exterior museum kind of coming down into the installation.
Different emotions that are tied to being at a beach. And when you see this at first, it's very stark. And I think the scale takes you away, but once you're in it, it becomes very familiar.
How many of you not deep into art or get it? But this, you know, you can't help but get because you're immersed in it. Interactive part is awesome. A lot of times, you know, you can't touch the art, things like that. Right now, you can kind of be in the art.
It's funny, you know, when we make the installation as this, you know, muted abstraction, all white beach, and then what's great is when it starts getting filled, the people are what makes it colorful and alive. And so it's really great to see it packed. That's what becomes the architecture itself, and you know, the materials and the people using it really get highlighted on this kind of pristine beach background.
Just visually, I think the experience of being in it, but also watching other people in it, it's such a unique environment and not something that you see visually anywhere. And I think that's something that we spend a lot of time trying to create those kinds of scenarios that are outside of the everyday.
And there is another side to it that is like floating in the ocean that can just kind of wade and be alone, even though you're in a huge installation with hundreds of people.
You might be also familiar with architectures and Daniel Arsham's work from the installation he did this year at Fuori Salone for Kohler. To me personally, this was more a digital project than a physical one. Why? Because the way it's built, laid out, and the choice of materials were very well set in perspective to create one key shot that will be then multiplied 1 million times in the digital. That's how successful installation projects, like also fashion shows I worked on, work these days. You always design for the key shots that will be shown on social media. Maybe the much more holistic and immersive metaverse will change this. We have 360-degree experiences again, whole worlds in which we can navigate ourselves as avatars, and designers have to think about the full immersive story in space again, yet also about the programs. The metaverse, or let's call it the virtual, flips the idea of building environments and building constructions once more. Gravity is left out. New worlds can be built and invented. So I'm wondering why architects like Zaha Hadid then just build new buildings in the metaverse as just happens right now. To me, it seems unclear if we have a final definition of the metaverse yet, nor do we know where it lives exactly. There's Roblox, Decentraland, Horizon World, you name it. Some people seem to be eager to buy land in the metaverse like crazy, or buy one of those fancy houses that we just saw. And I'm wondering, do they even know why? Other brands like Balenciaga build a retail store without having really thought through the program yet. The meaning, purpose seems quite unclear yet, and the online seems a bit empty. The experience is lacking. Once more, looking back at the virtual spaces I built, it seems almost naive and underdeveloped as well. But this is all related to the time we were in, the technology that was available, and the platforms we had. A lot needed to be explored, still has to. But as a side note, metaverse is 11-month old, and AI visualization programs like Midjourney or DALL-E even fewer months. So I must applaud the clients I designed spaces for. They were courageous and bold enough to understand that the digital offers completely new platforms and rules to explore. And they trusted me to actually try it. One was in 2017, one was in 2020. In 2017, Coffee & Clothes asked me to design their virtual store. Coffee & Clothes became famous through Instagram, simply picturing latte art and cool sneakers or accessories like handbags pictured together in one shot. They never had physical stores till then, simply lived off their content on Instagram. Neither did they have a virtual store. I was the first one that did one for them. The briefing I received from them was simple. It must be on brand in terms of materials, colors, so it should be a little bit girly, it should talk to target group, it should be dreamy and Instagrammable, in the zeitgeist. Yet, and that was what I really celebrated the most, content had to be included into the different touch points. We had several screens mounted on the right-hand side from the centerpiece of the coffee bar. Daily new content could be watched there. Coffee could be purchased online and it was shipped to your home. And exclusive collection of limited high fashion shoes and handbags could be bought to the left of the bar. The store and visuals were such a success within the market that the brand asked me to design their first pop-up store and merchandise at Showfields in New York. Mobile pop-ups followed, and I'm curious what they will be doing now when the metaverse takes off. During COVID lockdown, when fairs and showrooms were shut down but products should be still sold and experienced, Laufen and Kartell asked me to design their first virtual space. Pre-metaverse and with less advanced technology, together with architects Furman Heckler, I designed the virtual space that you currently can experience online, and I will introduce the concept a bit more in depth in a second. What I applaud the most that we consciously did choose not to go with expected 3D renders and animations, but try to replicate the meaningful stories in form of mixed media short films, a lot of glitches and imperfections that actually tie into the story of the zeitgeist we're in. A lot of chaos, a lot of instability, and the seek for the new, a lot of transitions and collages of all new, unknown. So let's look at this concept a little bit more in depth. We open our gates to the virtual world with a collection that is in the position to open dialogues that go beyond the bathroom. Dialogues that embrace contrast from clear lines to magical blurs. Chromatically reflective plastic furniture and accessories to sharp-edged geometrical compact forms that please and blended architecture and design context embedded in the current zeitgeist. Kartell by Laufen is a collection that allows us to dream, to find icons, to identify with, and to endlessly explore the possibilities of combinations. Kartell by Laufen designs are a subtle blend between the historical and classical, combined with the progressive attitude of today. Honesty and directness covered with the glitch of soft moments. For the virtual space, the architects Furman and Heckler and experiential interior designer Schneider have developed a dreamlike narrative inspired from current times of crisis, from health to climate. In times of change, new limits and obstacles, different experience of distance and closeness, and endearing technologies that influence the way we live. What is still real? What does really matter now? Dreams. And the carefulness for nature and lasting, loyal products with a purpose, well designed and carefully embedded into our daily rituals. The narrative of the virtual space therefore circulates around the concept of the post-consumeristic landscape, in which nature takes back human-built space and changes human perceptions on the valuable and the lasting in our daily routines. The bathroom becomes an essential for all the care and health. What is virtual? Isn't virtual or the digital already our reality today? We find different approaches of how players in the industry present their products and brands in the digital realm. Facts, the virtual affects our life in a very physical way. One does not exist without the other anymore. We are constantly connected and constantly switching in between all sorts of spaces. Virtual space does not replace the physical. It adds a new layer on top. A layer that should be about the experience, the story, and the emotion. Art and music are cultural goods that stir emotions, connect with people on an experiential and emotional level. Especially in times of crisis, the artful, poetical are more appreciated than the commercially expected. Technical information and direct sales of products are lacking in this particular space. Consumers are redirected to our home base and multi-device. Virtual space is a space open to anyone who's curious to explore. Once the word drops, 4 different 3D entry spaces designated to Kartell by Laufen products and the story of the surrealistic landscape follow. Four different rooms stacked on top of each other and accessible through scroll. All starts with the urban area. Nature conquers concrete jungle. Emptiness, some machines from production still running. Clouds, roughness, concrete, water dams, moss and fog. The urban is followed by the desert. Hot like the oven that burns ceramics. An interplay of layers of sand, earth, fire, air and light. And then, thirdly, the desert is followed by the forest. In the darkness hide the animals, surprising encounters of life and death, darkness and light, the digital and the natural. Last but not least, the fourth space is dedicated to a newly launched set of 3 screen print designs by collage artist Monica. Screen printed toilet bowl and freestanding wash basin will be launched as a limited edition and for an exclusive channel only, yet can be discovered today already in the virtual realm. Dedicated to artist Monica's very tactile work, the space represents a morphed version to the digital. Taking the video that shows the artist in her studio interacting with the 3 different collages and rebuilds it in an immersive space. By clicking on the room's name, we dive into the narrative while we discover an array of selected sets from the Kartell by Laufen collection. Select sound, press pause, jump back to entry space or to the next space. For discovering the product set that is embedded in the film, open the animated product box. Another dimension, another layer, another beautiful image in flux.
Io su Vinted sto impazzendo perché sto vedendo un sacco di cose, ma ogni tanto c'è qualcuno che veramente sì, ma e poi fa risentito e dice che sono io il pezzo
In sum, the structure of the space is built up as follows: a combination of an entry space per set, combined with the film, an additional layer of an animated product box, and the final render of the set in the nature-infused setting, like the flower in midst of the chaos. Where do we go from here? When it comes to the future of virtual, I feel that A, the metaverse is here to stay, and B, a lot needs to be figured out still. From functionality, accessibility, to even a clear definition of what it is and where it lives, to much more meaningful programs and experiences. Maybe it's easier to define what metaverse and the virtual is not than what it is these days. Maybe we can agree that we do not want to replicate the world we're living in these days. It's a massive chaos, a lot of instabilities, a lot of problems, fears, anxieties, and a lot of opportunities to actually react on something of that. So why not dream and use it for all of our best, our well-being? Bring the humanistic approach into the digital, explore, and create benefits for people in a new space. This is a crucial point why it's relevant that we talk in academic context about it. We must take on responsibility, be empathetic, and finding healing answers on the problems we're experiencing these days in the physical world. And last but not least, very important to think about what is your your individual position and role within the whole new different space. What new skills will it take to act in this new world? According to futurist Bernard Marr, these can be outlined as follows. I hope you find yourself in one or the other, and I hope you're curious and courageous to make the space we're living in into something more than another spectacle, but hopefully something meaningful and healing for the physical and mental ecosystem. Now, I would like to thank you so much for your attention, your curiosity, and I would like to say that the stage is yours now. I'm happy to open a dialogue and hear about your thoughts, worries, or inspirations. Let's talk.
So back in this window. I cannot hear you.
Hi, Annabelle. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. We have two questions for you. You think
I hear you very badly, but I try to hear you.
Yeah. You think the new digital habitat can have in the future a strong economical sense?
Definitely, because I think we will do business there and there will be also new jobs created within that. Just think about the avatars, how they have to be dressed as well. We have to experience so much. New spaces have to be built. It's maybe not a typical architectural space. That's really what I hope what we're exploring, because we don't use materials as in the built environment anymore, and we don't use gravity anymore. So we can like really test new habitats. And I think then it also requires new roles, and we can like do business there. There will be new services, many, from health to tourism to so much, everything, I think.
Okay, thank you. And what brand asks you more to create on metaverse? Your client.
I didn't understand the beginning of your question, sorry.
What your client asks you more to create on metaverse?
So usually they just want to get a space, and not with Kartell by Laufen. They were very open to, you know, make this collage and like some sort more of an experience, but of course it has to be more interactive. And I think the metaverse changes that, because now we have a platform where we actually can go in with our avatar, and depending on the gadgets we will have and also the clients will use, the more we will create these immersive experiences. But for now, Kartell by Laufen was like flexible in, it can be a 2D collage and very mixed media, but then Coffee by Clothes, for instance, or others now, they just want to do a store, and that needs to be a building. And I think that has something to do with, because we're used what a building looks like or a store, so we need this connection of what it is. But I think it takes time, and we should like explore different examples of that. It doesn't have to be a building.
And one more question. How can we use the metaverse in the design field better than now? We can improve something.
One thing that just right now comes to my mind is like, it's for sure very beneficial as a space designer also to sell other spatial concepts to your clients. So you can use it also as a tool to walk your clients through the space that we're actually building for him, like in the real space as well. It's like those animated renderings that you could show before when people didn't want to just read a plan or elevations. So you can have it fully immersive. And I think also for what we already have, all these events and stage design will be massive. Like people who don't have access to a concert for geographical or other reasons can now join a concert. And this also re-explores the whole design of stages. Like, for instance, I don't know if you saw that, but like Ariana Grande has like a video, and you can fly with her in a bubble. And interesting, she becomes very huge at some points, and you're very little. And so the whole stories, or like scales, the play with scales and like closeness and everything is very different.
Okay, thank you. We end our time now. We thank you so much to being with us. I hope to see you soon in another Yet Square, maybe next year. We'll see you.
Yeah, would be nice. Maybe in the metaverse.
Thank you so much, Annabelle.
Thank you.
Noi